So you're moving to Ashburn, Virginia, and you've heard so many things about living here, but you're not quite sure what to believe. So in this week's video, I'll share with you 10 of the most common myths about living right here in Ashburn. Are these myths going to be true, completely false, or land somewhere in the middle? Well, we're about to find out, so sit back, relax, because we're getting started right now. Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. Common myths about living in Ashburn, Virginia. So I've personally lived in Ashburn since 2017, and I've heard so many myths about living here over the years, and most of these myths actually come from locals who live in other parts of Northern Virginia. In fact, I believed in a lot of these myths before I moved here. Now some of these myths will be true, some are going to be completely false, and some will land somewhere in the middle. So let's get the video started right now with the first myth about living in Ashburn with too much traffic. So yes, traffic overall in Northern Virginia, it is absolutely terrible, especially during rush hour on the major commuter routes. In fact, usnews.com ranks the DC Metro as having the 8th worst traffic in the nation. However, traffic in Ashburn is almost non-existent, very minimal at worst. In fact, there's very little traffic overall in Loudoun County. Now there are a few areas in Loudoun County that will be backed up during rush hour, but you're not going to find those areas in Ashburn. And having very little traffic in Ashburn is actually one of my favorite parts about living here. Literally doing 5 o'clock rush hour, I can drive from one end of Ashburn all the way to the other end of Ashburn in about 15 or 16 minutes. And to put that into context, I can make the exact same drive, let's say on a Sunday morning. The timing will be very similar. Now once you leave Ashburn, traffic is a complete different story, especially as you cross over into Fairfax County. Then you will get to experience the true traffic of Northern Virginia, because a good rule of thumb is the closer you get to DC, the worse the traffic gets. So the myth about too much traffic in Ashburn is completely busted. Now the next myth is Ashburn is too expensive. So Ashburn in my mind is an A+ area to live and raise a family. However, this definitely comes at a price. With our high cost of living, especially our high cost of housing, and this is by far the biggest con to living in Ashburn. Let's look at the numbers. So the 2024 median sales price of a home in Ashburn comes out to $771,000. Now let's compare that to Northern Virginia as a whole. With the 4 major counties, the median sales price comes out to $690,000. So homes in Ashburn are going to be 12% more expensive compared to the region as a whole. Now let's look at single family homes, and you're not going to believe this number. The median sales price of a single family home in 2024 in Ashburn comes out to $1,115,000. This number literally gets higher every time I look it up. In fact, I remember when I got in this business back in 2014, you could easily find a very nice single family home in Ashburn for under $625,000, and I'm talking about a really nice single family home. So yes, Ashburn is extremely expensive, but you can find some great value overall under that median sales price of $771,000, especially with townhomes or townhouse style condos. First of all, you can find a lot of great townhomes under that median sales price of $771,000. And these townhomes will be like 2,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1 or 2 car garage, and in an A+ neighborhood. Now, if you really want the most bang for your buck, Ashburn offers many different townhouse style condos, and some of these are going to be up to 2,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 1 car garage, plus a massive rooftop terrace, which is great for entertaining. With most of these homes being built after 2018, all for about $725,000 or less. Again, well under the median sales price of a home in Ashburn. So this myth is unfortunately confirmed. And like I said, this is the biggest con to living in Ashburn and Northern Virginia as a whole. Now, as much as I love making YouTube videos about living right here in Northern Virginia, what I love even more is helping folks just like you relocate to the area. So if you've been thinking about moving to Northern Virginia, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Just know I got your back when you're moving to Northern Virginia. Now, the next myth is Ashburn is too far away from DC for commuters. So the basis of this myth is you can't live in Ashburn and work in Washington, DC. Now you absolutely can, however, with a few caveats, let me explain. So Ashburn is about 32 to 36 driving miles away from Washington, DC, and during rush hour, it's not going to be an easy 32-mile drive whatsoever. So expect a commute into DC to be about 60 minutes on a good day, but up to 90 minutes on a bad day. So if you have to work in your DC office 5 days a week from like, let's say 9 to 5, then Ashburn may be too far away. Because you will go crazy having to deal with peak rush hour traffic 10 times a week. However, if you only have to go into the DC office 3 times or less per week, or your timing is flexible so you can avoid rush hour, let's say working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., then living in Ashburn and working in DC is absolutely doable. In fact, my wife works in DC and it takes her on average 60 to 90 minutes to get to and from work, but at least she only has to go in once, maybe twice per week. But if she had to go in 5 days a week, then we would definitely have to consider leaving Ashburn and moving closer to DC, which I would definitely not be happy about. You also do have the option of taking the recently opened Ashburn Metro into DC. Now, you're not going to save time at all, and it will probably take you longer time compared to driving because it takes about 80 minutes from station to station, but you will save the aggravation of sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and you can get some work done at the same time. So this myth lands somewhere in the middle, and depending on your specific situation, this can be 100% doable, or you may want to consider living in other parts of Northern Virginia. The next myth is, there's nothing to do in Ashburn. Now this may have been the case 15 years ago, but not anymore. Now there's a lot to do in Ashburn, and when you add the surrounding areas, that adds even more fun things to do. First of all, you have One Loudon, which is the downtown of Ashburn. You'll be able to find some great restaurants that are very popular spots for happy hours, date nights, or even late night partying. Also in One Loudon, you have iFly, which is an indoor skydiving company that offers the experience of free falling in a vertical wind tunnel. Then you have Top Golf, an entertainment venue that combines golf with interactive games, food, and socializing. Then you have parks and recs all throughout Ashburn, including the brand new Reservoir Park, which literally opens today as I'm filming this video. So the newly opened Reservoir Park is going to be located on Beaver Dam Reservoir and will feature picnic pavilions, walking and biking paths, fishing, and a central pier with a boat launch. Then you have the wineries in western Loudoun County. And if you didn't know, Loudoun County is actually known as DC's wine country, featuring over 40 wineries. And there's nothing better than going to a winery, let's say on a Saturday sunny afternoon with great weather. You're with your friends, your family, you're drinking wine, that's always fun. Eating the food options they have like pizza or cheese platters. It's a great way to relax with friends and family on the weekend, and it's one of the best parts about living in the county. Then you can even see live sporting events right next door in Leesburg with a minor league soccer team called Loudoun United Football Club. So these are just a few fun options you can do in Ashburn and the surrounding areas, and I could easily do a full video just on this subject. So this myth is 100% busted. There's plenty of fun things to do in this area. Now the next myth is Ashburn is only for families. Now Ashburn is an A+ area to live for families or even couples with no kids. Now if you're a young professional who's 30 years old and single, then maybe Ashburn isn't the best place to live, especially if you're looking to meet people in your age group. So yes, the majority of the population in Ashburn is going to be families. A lot of young professionals, they choose to live in more urban areas like Reston or the Arlington-Alexandria area. In fact, back in my 20s and early 30s, which is many years ago, there's no way I would have lived in Ashburn. I wanted to be in more urban areas because I wanted to be closer to nightlife and people in my own age group. While this area is very family oriented, recently I've noticed a lot of young single professionals deciding to move to Ashburn. And I think some of the reasons for this is the opening of the Ashburn Metro Station. Remote work is now more common. Plus, there's a lot of things for younger people to do now in this area, especially compared to 15 years ago. So this myth is not confirmed or busted. It kind of lands somewhere in the middle. However, with the rapid growth we're seeing here in Ashburn, I believe in as little as 5 years from now, this myth can be completely busted. Now, the next myth about living in Ashburn is HOAs are not worth the money. So you may not know this, but 99% of all the homes in Ashburn are going to be part of some association, whether it's a condo association or an HOA. So if you're relocating to the area from another part of the country where HOAs are not as common, then this will definitely come as a shock to you. Now I will agree, most HOAs in Northern Virginia are not worth the money, but that's not the case with some HOAs in Ashburn. So the average monthly HOA dues here in Ashburn is going to be in that $100 to $215 range, and can get as high as $481 per month, but we're going to talk more about that here shortly. So this is what you get for your money. First, HOAs take care of common ground maintenance. And you're probably thinking right now, who cares? But go drive around neighborhoods like Willisford and Belmont Country Club, and you will see how beautiful and well maintained the common areas are. You also get services like trash and recycling, and you get amenities like pools, fitness centers, basketball courts, walking trails, tennis courts, and some neighborhoods even have lakes where you can do catch and release fishing. So just by using the community gym alone, you can save anywhere from $70 to $120 a month by not having to pay for a gym membership. Now I want to circle back to the $481 a month HOA that I mentioned earlier. So Belmont Country Club is going to be the neighborhood with the highest HOA dues in all of Ashburn. So what in the world does $481 a month get you? Well, when you live in Belmont Country Club, you get full lawn and landscape maintenance, you get cable television up to 75 channels, high-speed internet, trash and recycling. It's going to be a guarded, gated community. Plus you get access to swimming pools, tennis courts, basketball courts, and you get access to the clubhouse, which has dining facilities, a club grill, and social events. So you actually do get a lot for that $481 a month. Now I know nobody likes paying monthly HOA dues, but unfortunately living in Ashburn, it is unavoidable, but at least you get some value for your money. So this myth is absolutely busted. The next myth is everything in Ashburn is brand new. So Ashburn is a much newer area in our region, especially compared to like Fairfax County or Arlington County. In fact, 40 years ago, back in 1985, Ashburn was a very small farm town with a population of only 200 people. In 1985 is definitely not that long ago. So 90% of all of Ashburn, including the infrastructure, has been built since 1990. Also, Ashburn has seen massive growth these past 15 years with a lot of new homes and new developments like One Loudoun. In fact, 38% of all the homes in Ashburn were built after the year 2010. Now, we compare that to Fairfax County, only 5% of all the homes were built after 2010. So yes, Ashburn is one of the newest areas in our region, but not everything is brand new or even built in the past 15 years, as you can find many homes that are built in the 90s. So I'm going to bust this myth. Now the next myth is data centers are everywhere. So data centers are big buildings designed to hold computer systems, and in fact, Ashburn is often referred to as Data Center Alley because it has the most amount of data centers in the world, and 70% of the world's internet travels through Ashburn. Now the good news is the majority of the data centers in Ashburn are in a square mile area with no residential homes close by. So you don't have to worry about buying a home and looking at a data center right from your backyard. So yes, there are a lot of data centers here, but with the majority of them being in the same location, data centers will have very little to no impact on the quality of life you can find here. In fact, the only time I even think about data centers is when I mention them in my YouTube videos. So this myth is 100% busted. Now the next myth is Ashburn is completely crime-free. While Ashburn is known for being a safe area with very low crime rates, no community is entirely free of crime. That literally does not exist. So the majority of crimes I hear about here in Ashburn is DUIs, Amazon packages being stolen from your front door, and vehicle break-ins. Now I've personally never experienced any of these, but I do hear about them. So I'm always on the neighbor's feed on my Ring doorbell app, and people always post all the time the noises that they hear or incidents that they saw on their Ring doorbell. And a big one I hear a lot about with noise is gunshots. And it's not gunshots, it is always fireworks. Now when it comes to crime, you have to do your own research, don't just listen to what I say. But this I can personally say, my wife and my toddler, they can walk anywhere in Ashburn without me, and I feel like I have nothing to worry about. But I definitely can't say the same thing for other parts of Northern Virginia. So Ashburn is not completely crime-free, but overall, Ashburn remains one of the safest areas I have ever personally lived, so I'm gonna bust this myth. Now the next myth is, everybody in Ashburn is rich. So you may not know this, but a lot of locals call Ashburn Cashburn. So the nickname Cashburn comes from the high cost of living, upscale homes, and affluent lifestyle that you will find here in Ashburn. Also, Cashburn really refers to living here. You can really burn through money very quickly due to the extreme high cost of living. It also definitely doesn't hurt that Ashburn and Cashburn rhyme. Also, the nickname comes from basically every single year, Loudoun County always ranks as the highest median household income in the nation. As according to usnews.com, the median household income in Loudoun County comes out to $170,000 per year. So yes, Ashburn is one of the most educated and affluent areas in the whole country, but not everybody here is rich. In fact, when I first moved here back in 2017, I was barely scraping by, and as far away from rich as you can possibly get. So this myth is 100% busted. And if you want to learn more about living right here in Ashburn, Virginia, check out this video right here. This is the most in-depth video I've ever done in Ashburn. You're not going to want to miss it. And I'll see you on the next video.